Welcome again to our weekly COVID-19 updates. I'm John Eller, Davie County Manager. I'm here joined by a great panel of guests today. We're here to give you our weekly update about everything that's happening in Davie County regarding our COVID-19 issues we're dealing with. We'll go through each speaker and transition into any updates that they may have that they haven't mentioned before. And by the end of this discussion today, we'll continue to post a way that any of you can get feedback to us, and we'll be looking for themes that people may have questions about that we can try to address in these weekly updates. So I want to thank our guest for being with us today, and we'll go ahead and transition on behalf of Assistant Manager Robin West and myself. We welcome everybody, and we thank our citizens for continuing to tune in to this series every week. So we hope it's value added for you. We hope to be able to use this forum to give you good information and the most recent information that we have at our disposal. So with that, we'll go ahead and transition into our presentations for today. First and foremost, while everyone's at home, we don't want anyone to forget about our census. The census is very important to us. We've tried to educate our community and county about this. We encourage everyone to go to our Davie Counts 2020 site. We hope that you'll visit that and get lots of good information there as well. Our site really talks about why the census is important. We've also tried to do this in multiple social media forums as well, but our money is really based on a lot of block grants that are derived from the census formulas. And those things that are impacted include a wide variety of things, from schools to community colleges to our hospitals, roads, public works, as you see on your screen, but also our seniors, our vulnerable children, services that protect people, one of which is domestic violence, our seniors also from a Medicare perspective and health care, and then our veterans as well. Everything from economic development infrastructure, and the list goes on and on. It's important that Davie get a very high response rate so that we get our fair share of those dollars, but also our fair share of representation in Congress. So we hope that all of you will go to the census website. It's there in front of you, 2020census.gov. You can feel free to do that as you're sitting in the confines of your home. Now that we're social distancing and relying more on our media, we hope this will be a great time for our citizens to do that. So you can call the number on the screen. You can go to the website on your screen. And if you have any questions, there's a visual here that you can see. You should have received a card in the mail that had a census ID number. If for some reason you didn't get a census ID, when you go to the website we talked about, there's a link there. If you'll go to that link, you should be able to easily resolve that. So we encourage your households to really help us with this effort and look forward to a great participation rate for Davie County in making our census vote count. So thank you for helping us with that. As we transition into our next topic today, we've gotten a lot of questions about which businesses are essential, which businesses are non-essential. How can I know when it's time to reopen a business? How do I know what the rules are that are in place? And we've got some information here that may help you. The decision for businesses to open or not solely rests with the governor in North Carolina. At the county level, we don't deem which businesses are essential or not. That's done by the North Carolina Office of Emergency Management in consultation with the governor's office. If you have a business and you want to be considered essential or have a question about being essential, whether you are essential or non-essential, you can feel free to reach out to the contact information there at that second bullet on your screen and do that. Lastly, we've also received some questions about the governor's executive orders. If you have any questions about those orders or just any comments in general, you can reach the governor's office at the number listed on your screen, or also go to the website listed there to submit a question. And anything regarding businesses opening or being closed, restrictions on those businesses, when some of the current orders that are in place may be rescinded or not rescinded, those are all things that need to be directed to Raleigh on. Unfortunately, locally, we do not have that authority to go against the governor's executive orders. So we know we've received a lot of questions about this, so we hope this helps a little bit. Now, as we transition into our speakers for today, we thank everyone from always taking their time out. Our first speaker again today will be Suzanne Wright, who's Director of our Health and Human Services Department. Suzanne?
Thank you, Mr. Eller. Last week, I shared an announcement from Bermuda Commons Nursing and Rehabilitation Center about one of its residents testing positive for COVID-19. As a follow-up, Bermuda Commons asked me to share that the resident is improving and has now tested negative for COVID-19. So I know that's news that we can all celebrate this week. For this week, I also want to highlight the work of senior services. Kim Shusky and her team are doing an incredible job ensuring that Meals for Seniors continue during this time. And today I want to provide a before COVID-19 and during COVID-19 look at how congregate and Meals on Wheels programs are operating in Davie County. So typically, or before COVID-19, Davie County Senior Services delivered Meals on Wheels to 140 people on 10 different routes each weekday. In addition, there were 60 to 85 clients who ate lunch at Senior Services Monday through Friday. We have altered the way those clients are being fed. Hot lunches delivered through the Meals on Wheels program continued through April 9th. On April 13th, Senior Services shifted from daily deliveries to weekly deliveries, but provided 5 days worth of meals in that 1 week weekly delivery. Shelf-stable foods were provided this week, but frozen meal delivery started on Monday of this week. Meals on Wheels volunteers deliver meals prior to COVID-19, but since most of them fell in the high-risk category, we quickly developed an alternate plan for their protection. The Davie County Sheriff's Department stepped in and have been delivering meals during this time. And I know the sheriff's on the call, and I just want to thank him for helping to ensure our seniors continue to receive meals during this time. Meals on Wheels is operating under a no contact delivery system. That means the deputy or staff member hangs the meal on the doorknob and either knocks and steps back at least 6 feet or calls from their car. The volunteer waits to see the client each day, which helps us know the client is okay. We also have volunteers calling clients throughout the week to check in and provide a friendly visit by phone. On-site meal for congregate meal clients stopped on March 13th, but on the 23rd, Senior Services staff opened a drive-through service where clients could drive up and get frozen and or shelf-stable meals. This started out weekly, but clients now pick up several weeks worth of meals at once. The Mocksville Police Department has assisted with traffic flow, and we appreciate their support. And Senior Services is also providing clients with an activity packet to help keep them occupied during this time. And I wanted to share some good news. Senior Services received a $5,000 grant from the Davie County COVID-19 Response Fund administered by the Community Foundation, and $2,500 from Davie County United Way to help with extra expenses for Meals on Wheels due to COVID-19 crisis. Community support has been tremendous, and we are beyond thankful for the outpouring of support for our seniors. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. We appreciate all that you and your staff do, from Senior Services to all the other departments serving during this time. And again, like we said last time, Sheriff, we appreciate the deputies and all they're doing to assist. As you can see, our seniors are very important to us, and continuing their nutrition and meals is very worthy thing for us to do. And speaking of meals, our school system as always steps up to the plate and has helped with our families and children who are also hungry during this time. And I want to turn it over now to our school superintendent, Jeff Wallace.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Eller, and staff that's on the call, and citizens. General Assembly is expected to return to session April 28th. There's a lot of questions and things, of course, they have to deal with across our state, but at the same time, there are quite a few situations they need to address with the school system, particularly waiving waivers for testing, licensure, quite a few other things. But one in particular that may be interesting, that our citizenry may be interested in, is the calendar, the school calendar, with the concern and anticipation of another wave of this virus potentially next fall, next winter. The General Assembly will be a request from school superintendents and the school, North Carolina Associated School Administrators has presented a request to the General Assembly to start school on April the 10th. This will, if we start school, typically schools start the third week, latter weeks of August each year. This would back it up a couple of weeks. That would not, if school does start early, August the 10th, it would end earlier. And just if we do not have another shutdown or anything to extend the year, but we do anticipate that the school calendar will change for next year and most likely start early or earlier. We have not communicated this with the general public at this point because we don't know yet, but we do anticipate getting an answer on that in the next couple of weeks. So that's obviously would have an impact on our families, and we will work with families. I know some have scheduled vacations a year or so out, and our staff have as well, but we would work with them as best we can. We're expecting an announcement from the governor toward the end of this week. We continue to get information regarding school closure. Will it be extended through the remainder of this year or not? Will we plan to return on May 18th? I will say that just informed today, superintendents were notified that the South Carolina governor closed their school system for the remainder of the school year. Don't know that that has any impact on North Carolina, but just sometimes our neighbors and neighboring governors and people talk. That we will wait to see what that looks like for us. Of course, we are geared up and rolling with remote learning. I hope we can return, but it's, of course, our children and our staff safety is most important. Changing gears slightly, and just got a report this morning. Our school nutrition, we have been providing meals for 26 days, and as of today, we will have provided 132,000 meals to children and their families. And that is, again, I continue to say that, but that is absolutely phenomenal. Sheriff has already been recognized today, and his staff. I want to commend them again for their help and their presence. And it's not a presence of being protective. It's a presence of serving others and serving while we're in providing meals. So I want to, again, Sheriff, thank you, and to your staff, thank you very much. Also, we got a call from the Davie Community Foundation, and the opportunity for our teachers to teach lessons, prepare their lessons in the Cognition building. Of course, that building is located next to the Davie Community Foundation, and it's a learner or maker space, learning spaces, very interactive, and some of our staff will start taking advantage of that opportunity to go there and create lessons. And we're still doing well, still taking care of our children and families as best we can, and we're appreciative for the support of this community. And that's my update for today, Mr. Eller, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. We appreciate all that you and your crews are doing there. Can't thank our teachers and your support staff enough for just helping feed our families, but also trying to remain connected with our students during this time. So thanks for your hard work. Sheriff Hartman, it's your turn to transition for your time here. If you just give us a quick update on any announcements from the Sheriff's Office.
Well, thank you, Mr. Eller. I think we're continuing to do typical business. Nothing's changed. I would like to remind everybody again, just like last week, be very cautious for frauds, especially as the stimulus checks start being delivered to people. We're seeing a huge uptick in those types of frauds of people trying to get that money from you. So pay attention to what you're doing and think about the calls or emails you're getting and whether they actually make good sense. I appreciate Jeff and Suzanne's speaking, but I would say thank you to them too. Everybody on this call has been an awesome team. We've all worked together. I hope the public understands how well the leadership in this county for all the departments, divisions, school systems have functioned as a team and worked together during this event. And I am proud to be a part of that. So thank all of you for that. And that's really all I have today, Mr. Eller.
Thanks, Sheriff. Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. We've got a great team here in Davie County, and we're just all doing what we need to be doing right now and serving the best we can, and couldn't have a better team, couldn't be more proud of our team. We'll transition now to Mr. Brian Bird, Director of Emergency Services.
Thank you, Mr. Eller. Good afternoon. Most of our updates this week, and there's just a few of them, come from the state desk from Emergency Management. During the past week, Emergency Management has tasked even more of our National Guard units with supporting North Carolinians with feeding programs. They're also assisting our hospitals and helping plan with a medical surge for families and children whose children have access to free lunches. A pandemic EBT program was approved this week. These families will be able to use this program to buy food when the school programs aren't open. The families won't have to apply. The benefit will be added to their EBT cards, and they'll get a letter from DHHS sometime soon to explain the details of that program to them. The state desk has also asked us to promote our local food banks. There's a huge surge in requests for assistance from our citizens. These food banks are feeling a strain. They're having shortages. So if you can support them, please do so if you can. Shortages of personal protective equipment still plague us throughout the state. New guidance from the state and federal agencies come to us weekly. We've been receiving some supplies from our National Guard partners. And while we don't have a lot in the stock rooms, Davie County does have the supplies that we need. And lastly, since we haven't had any new executive orders lately, the calls coming into the Emergency Operations Center have slowed down. We do get some of the calls from businesses asking about whether or not they're an essential business or not, and we refer back to the graphic that Mr. Eller had up earlier. We send them to the state desk and have the governor's office answer those questions for them. But since we're having less calls, we've reduced our hours at the EOC. We're monitoring from 8 to 5 daily, and we have an on-call duty officer available at other times. And that's my update for the week, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bird. We do know that there's a lot of our churches right now that are providing food services. We know that some of them are making meals. Some of them have food banks that are available to people broader than their congregations. We obviously have great resources like a storehouse for Jesus, and I'm sure there are others out there as well. But if anyone does have resources, and we are trying to compile what those are in case people present in need, please let us know. We'd love to know what those resources are as we try to compile them. So thank you, Mr. Bird, for what you and your staff do. We'll transition now into our 911 Communications Center, Director Rodney Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. Eller. At 911, we have no significant changes since our last update. Just kind of following up what Mr. Bird said, just for direct COVID questions, reach out to the hotlines and the helplines from our local health department and state for any guidance and questions concerning the COVID. But also just keep in mind to utilize 911 for emergencies only. With that being said, we're ready and prepared at the 911 Center as best we can be for the COVID response, and also any situations, our normal day-to-day situations that crop up, we're ready and standing by to assist as we can. That's our biggest update from the 911 Communications Center. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Appreciate all you and your dispatchers are doing during this time. We'll transition now in our Public Utilities Department, Mr. Johnny Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Eller. So just a quick update. We're still working under the governor's executive orders that requires all utilities in the state to not impose any late penalties or disconnections for any water or sewer that we're working with. We're also still extending and offering payment plans to anyone who needs to set those up so they can pay smaller amounts and work with us. So they can still call that number 336-753-6090 to talk to someone in my office to get those payment plans set up. I'd also like to say that working with Mr. Eller and several others, the county is no longer charging fees to pay online. So they've absorbed those fees for right now. So it won't cost the customers anything to pay online anymore. And we're just moving along and getting through this as good as we can. I'd like to just say, I'd like to thank all the citizens of Davie County with the closed offices, and they've been really understandable and worked with us trying to keep everything electronic. So that's my update for today.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. You guys are doing a great job. We want to remind all of our citizens again to get feedback to us weekly as we get these updates out to you. Feel free to submit any questions or comments to us, and again, we'll compile those themes and try to address those every week. We thank all of you for being so resilient and really just coming together as a community as we go through this together. Again, thanking all the speakers on the call and what a difference they're making. In the midst of this, everyone just continues to amaze me with just how committed they are to this county, and also their ability to get very creative and innovative and do work differently when needed. So with that, we'll end this week's session. I want to thank everyone on the call. I want to thank our citizens, and we'll see you during the next episode. Take care.